This podcast contains discussions about sensitive topics, including mental health, alcohol and substance use, as well as suicide. It may also include strong language. The viewpoints expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the hosts. Listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you know needs support, please reach out to a trusted professional or a helpline. Welcome to Twist the Throttle, the podcast where we crank open the throttle on life's toughest rides. From mental health struggles to life on two wheels, we're here to have real, raw, unscripted conversations that break the stigma and help you navigate the road ahead. So grab your helmet, hit the road with us, and remember, it's still okay to pump the brakes. Together, we're shifting gears on mental health. Here's your hosts, Ambo and the Prez.
Welcome back, listeners. Another week has passed, and today we have Paul from
Harley
Hogs,
Harley Road
Hogs,
Show.
Clogs, two Aussie Flogs, and
Cogs, not clogs. We'll get there.
we will get there, and the Harley Road Show.
How are we?
Very good, mate. Thank you very much for coming along.
No worries at all.
First of all, congratulations on hitting the 2 million view mark on your
Harley
Road Show. You and the missus
Yes.
killing it.
Yeah, I actually got a shock when I saw it. Holy shit, I've got 2 million. Where'd that come from? That just popped out of the blue.
So that's just you sitting at home watching it over.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just me. And all my mates, I pay them. They're on a regular salary just to keep watching the thing.
You also, you co-host with Hogs Cogs, two Aussie Flogs with your mate, Whitey.
Yep.
Yeah, you boys are pretty popular. We've been trying to get Whitey on since I spoke to you, a couple of months back.
Yep.
Yeah, like we spoke early November, I think I started trying to organise this one.
Yep.
And he's still giving me the runaround, the bastard. So we'll get on.
Well, I spoke to him about, because I said I was coming to do this today, and he goes, "Oh, you can ask him when I got it," because I've lost the date.
He didn't give me one. We'll get on to him. We'll get him.
It's been floating on the board for a couple of weeks.
Well, he's retired. I mean, he's got nothing else to do.
So we start every show with the same question, mate. What are you riding at the moment?
So I have, today I rocked up on a scooter, a Yamaha scooter,
I did see that.
the Barley Harley.
Barley Harley, I love it. I've got to get a photo of that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, yeah.
I have a 2018 CVO Road Glide.
Yep.
I've got a 1995 Road King, and I've got a chopper, which is bits and pieces of all sorts of stuff.
Always.
Which I'm in the process of doing that up. Before I came here, I was talking to Shannon the painter, and we're talking about what we're going to do with the tins and all sort of stuff. But it's on my bench at the moment within bits and pieces.
Bit of a Franken bike.
Yes.
So which one of those is your favourite?
Well, look, it's hard to say which one's a favourite.
Got to be the scooter, right?
Yeah, the scooter's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's great in traffic. I just love the thing.
Yeah.
Look, for touring, you can't beat the Road Glide. It's just sensational. But I love the Road King. But no doubt, I like old school. So old bikes with that old sound. So
still coming.
But you need, like I was talking to Cole down at Geelong Harley. He goes, you just need one bike to get you from here to Darwin. The rest just buy old bangers, and that's sort of what the way I'm going.
So I think I chased you up to, where was it? The Shovel Fest up in Bendigo.
Yes.
Yeah. I was back of your little pack, just sort of dropped in behind you guys because you were going a little bit quicker than me.
Was I?
Oh, yeah.
It's unusual for me.
Definitely the speed limit, or maybe just a little bit over.
It's unusual for me.
Man, there were some beautiful bikes up there.
Mate, that Shovel Fest was a good night. Yeah,
there were some crackers.
Yeah, Sarge and I are actually building a 81 lowrider, so it's going to be
nice
at the next Shovel Fest, hopefully.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, should be a good bike.
If you could go for a ride with anybody, dead or alive, who would it be and where would you go?
Oh,
deep questions.
Go for a ride with anybody. Who would it be? I reckon they'd have to ride.
You can go.
Not necessarily.
They'd have to ride. I would go. I'd love to go with my old man.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Yeah, my old man or my granddad. One of the two.
Yeah.
So the whole reason I got the motorbikes was because my granddad was heavily into bikes when he was younger. He went around Australia back in must have been the mid-30s.
Oh, wow. Unreal.
He took off, and can you imagine going through the outback in those days? It's hard now.
I was going to say, back in those days,
mate.
Not exactly as many services.
Yeah, so he did that, and along the way, he made money shooting rabbits and sending the pelts back to Latner's, the hat factory.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So I spent a lot of time with my grandparents growing up. My early memories are sitting there talking to him about motorbikes forever and ever. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever.
You could relive that. That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Oh, mate. Well, that was the whole reason I did the Outback trip. I did a big Outback trip a few 2022, I think.
I
2022.
think you're getting a bit of trouble. You're riding around with a gun on the back of your bike.
Yeah, you wouldn't get away with that now. It was Australia was a different time, different place altogether back then. But it was just the coolest stories. And he made enough money when he got back. He married my grandmother and put a deposit on a house. So and bought a new motorbike.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it was very cool.
What was his bike of choice?
Look, he had a whole bunch. The last one he had was an OK Supreme.
Yep.
And he still had the engine sitting in the garage when I was a kid. So I used to play on that, muck around with the engine.
Yep.
And one of the best things that ever happened to me when we went across to New Zealand, we rode the South Island, New Zealand. We went to the motorcycle Mecca in Invercargill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I kept saying, I just wish I could see an OK Supreme.
Yep.
And they didn't have one. And we went down and had lunch, and I'm sitting there, and I've looked up, and above the table is an OK Supreme.
Yeah, right.
I said, you've got to be. I had a bit of a freaking teary when it happened. I go, holy shit, I've actually seen one. And it was just perfect, pristine condition. So, I've got some great photos of my granddad with jodhpurs on and all that sort of stuff. And he was cool as all get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I could ride that, I'd go with him because it was just, I'd love to. It's so cool.
Dual Supremes, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he had all sorts of bikes. I mean, back in those days, they all had JAP motors.
Yeah.
He had, he had like a BSA, the old Royal Enfield. What else do you have? Vincent.
Yeah, a lot of British bikes.
Yeah, everything was British back then.
Yeah,
all that sort of stuff. So, but the OK Supreme was the one he had last.
Yeah,
and that was the one I had the contact with because I had the motor and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's unreal.
So you're good on the tools?
I wouldn't say I was good on the tools. I can do so. I could do basic stuff, but anything. Look, I spend a bit of time now with Cole down at Geelong because either new stuff. Really, you need a tech.
You need a computer,
You need a tech.
Plug it in.
Yeah, you got to be able to plug it in. But the old stuff, like a lot of stuff, I can do myself. Just sit there and nut it out. Engine stuff, not so much. But all the other nuts and bolt stuff is pretty much bolt on, bolt off, and
change brake pads.
You need an amber.
Yeah.
Every time I go to his place, I'm like, oh, while we're here.
Well, I
bought a brand new ST. The first thing he does is bring around to my house.
I bought it,
chop all the baffles out.
Yeah, a brand new low road ST. I had to take 2 hours and had it up on the stand at his place.
Bugger all Ks on it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
not even 20, I don't think.
That's what we do. Mates do for that. For one another, it's good. Do you remember your first bike?
First bike I ever had was a Yamaha 80. Was it 80? I think it was. Yeah. And I recovered that from a tip or something. I think it was. We found it. And when I used to rev it, used to spit bits of metal out the exhaust as we ran around the freaking backyard, to Mum and Dad's disgust. And Mum and Dad were never keen to get motorbikes. So the next one I had was a KX 125, I think it was, and I left that at a mate's place because Dad said, if you ever bring your motorbike home, I'll put an axe through it.
I had a motorbike in my auntie and uncle's house for a little bit.
Yeah. But the first road bike I ever got was a GSX 250E.
Oh, nice.
And I bought that from an old guy in Tullamarine, he was.
Yeah.
And had that while I had my L's. And then back then, two-strokes were like the bee's knees. So the next thing I got was an RZ 250.
Yeah.
It was it's like a blue, yellow and white bike, white wheels. Mm-hmm. That thing went like a stink. But the first one I had was a road bike, was a GSX 250E.
Nice. Mine was a GPX 250.
Yes. Mate of mine had one of them.
Yeah, they're ugly as sin bike now, but yeah.
They look cool in the day, though.
They did. I had mine. It was all blue and had it painted up. I had stickers that look like an Aussie flag.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
What's always in your tank bag or backpack on the ride, mate?
What's an essential part of your?
Obviously, a camera.
Yeah, camera. Always got a camera.
Extra batteries. And
extra batteries.
What do you take other than?
Always got a tool roll.
Yeah,
basic tool roll. I've always got a first aid kit, and I've
never have to use it.
Never have to use it so far. Touch wood. Yeah. And always have a punch repair kit with me.
Beautiful.
Yeah, good.
Perfect. Yeah. They're all actual necessary things.
Yeah.
What's not a necessary thing that you take with you?
Rain gear.
I
never put it on.
Melbourne.
I never put it on. I don't even know what it is. Yeah. I mean, they call me Chief Dark Cloud, and I live up to my reputation very well.
Love it. I love it. So if you had an entry song, you're going to walk into a pub, they're going to play a song just for you. What would be your song? You're a bit of a music guy, so.
Shit. Stranglehold.
Yeah. Nice. So now I know what to put on your social when we release the episode. Early years, you grew up in Airport West?
Yes.
What was that like?
Very cool. I mean, we had a where we lived. There was a stack of kids, so it would have been probably 30 kids in the street.
Yeah.
And our street was like a horseshoe, but on a very steep hill. So it was the place to be. So our summer holidays were spent building billy carts,
Yeah, cool.
going around the local engineering places and scumming
All the
ball bearing wheels, yeah, and then racing like buggery down this freaking hill.
How many broken arms and
there was shitloads going on, mate. It was madness. Like it was, but it was like, honestly, that was back when life was grouse. We had cracker night, and we had a bloody bacon paddock, which everybody used to dump shit on and have massive bonfires. It was fantastic.
Yeah, back when you could be a free range kid.
Yeah, well, it just shits me to death that we've got to a point where I make this analogy back. In Africa, if you're a dumb zebra, you get eaten by the lions pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
And the rest of the zebra population, they become smarter because of it. In our world, we keep the fuckwits alive, right? And the rest of us become dumber because of it.
That's it.
Right?
What's the saying? Take all the warning labels off everything and just let people sort it out.
I'm glad there's a clause at the start of our podcast that says the hosts don't have the same opinion.
But seriously, what I mean, if some tosser decides to go and do a handstand on a cliff face when there's a barrier there and says don't jump over the barrier, and you do a handstand on the cliff face and you fall off and you
natural selection.
Well, so why go and build a higher fence so nobody can enjoy it? You know what I mean? That to me is just stupid. I mean,
they call it the Darwin Awards.
Yeah, it's idiotic.
I love it. So you used to race a bit of dirt motocross and enduro?
Yep.
How'd you get into that?
Well, so a few of the mates where I worked, they were heavily into it. And just a progression from what I love doing, and started doing that as well, which was good fun. Just there used to be a motocross track under Westgate Bridge, which we used to go to a lot. And if we weren't doing that, we're up at Bullinguruk, going crazy up on the fire trails up there. Again,
some good dirt rides around.
Yeah, and I just think there's no better preparation for riding on the road than riding on the dirt.
Exactly, 100%. Now they've taken this away from the kids these days.
Yeah.
Now you got to have, you got to go to these tracks all the time. You got to pay to go to these tracks all the time. They've really taken the fun out of it for the kids. Yeah,
and you got to have a license. Yeah, you got to be like 18 to start riding.
Yeah, you got to have rec reg.
Yeah,
you got to have your rec reg. You got to have make sure you still got to have indicators, all that sort of stuff. Why on earth wouldn't you encourage people to I mean,
learn?
This is what Crown Lounge's for, right?
Yeah.
It's not to wrap it up in a parcel and nobody's allowed to use it. What's the point?
Yeah.
Right? So many kids are missing out on my sort of upbringing and my fun. And what happens is they're not learning. They're not learning how to ride properly. They're not learning how to fix their own stuff. They're not learning that, not everybody wins. They're not learning that if you get hurt, it's okay. You'll mend and you'll come back.
Exactly right.
They're not learning. You talk about mental health. They're not learning that there's adversity gets put in front of you, and it's how you figure that out and get through it. Yeah. That's what builds you as a human, right? So I don't understand why we've got so many do-gooders in the world that are trying to. They think they're doing the right thing by preventing people from getting hurt. They're making it worse.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, because back in the day when you fell off your bike, you knew that hurt.
Oh yeah,
I better not do that again, right?
Exactly. Right.
And that tells me now when I'm going down the road, if I'm going too fast or I'm doing something stupid, pull up, sunshine, because you're going to fall off.
It's much better to grab a fistful of front brake and slide out on dirt than it is on the road.
100%.
No, definitely the basic skills. Like I never rode dirt. I know I grew up. I always loved bikes, but was kind of not in a situation where I could ride. Mm-hmm. Then I was married to somebody who wouldn't let me ride a bike.
Yeah.
So the week I got divorced, I got my first bike. Yeah. And I've been riding ever since. But I'm pretty happy, really, that I didn't have a bike through my teens and 20s, because the way I ride now, Jesus, I would have been,
Oh, yes and no. You learn, you learn that falling off hurts, like you said, Paul. Yeah.
Sure does. Like it's not only that. You especially dirt riding. You learn, like, if you come around a corner and all of a sudden the arse end starts leaving you, okay, I know how to get out of this, right? Like I said, when I did that Outback trip a few years ago, I did it on an ultra, right? And we were on dirt roads a lot, right? And it never worried me.
Is it known for the suspension?
Yeah, but it never worried me. It never worried me that what happens if the arse end falls, or what happens the front?
Because you've been riding on dirt all your life.
I knew exactly what was going to happen. Right?
So what's the biggest difference between dirt and road for you?
Cars.
Other dickheads.
Yeah. People that unfortunately, look, we have a real problem in in Australia,
Mhm.
in Victoria as well, especially, is just the aggression of people on the road. It's like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
You're going to get there. What are you saving? 3 seconds?
Yeah.
Right? Calm down. Give a bit of space. Sometimes you want to overtake somebody and they put the foot down so you can't get round them. It's
Yeah,
just
like,
stupid. Right? Why?
Yeah. What do you own that bit of road? Like, yeah. I find that trying to merge in traffic.
Yeah, just
Like the reason all the freeways back up is nobody wants to let you in.
take a chill pill, mate. Let them in. Right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
But the other problem with merging is too that you've got some people coming on there entering a freeway at 40 k's an hour rather than coming up to speed. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I've got issues with that. Yeah, like if you're coming up to an on ramp, move over a lane. Let the cars coming onto the.
But other side of that, if you're on the on ramp, you're joining 100k traffic.
Hurry the
Get
fuck
up to speed.
Yeah.
That's why I always laughed when they put the new sequential lights in, at the end of the bloody.
Complete waste of time.
That's just negated the whole reason you've got the on ramp.
Yeah, it's pointless. It is such a stupid idea. And the other thing, I don't know what you call them. There's people that are like traffic engineers, and they why on earth I don't know why it happens on the ring road a lot. They have an entry coming onto the freeway, and then they have an exit
just past it,
500 meters up the road.
Yeah,
so you've
Boundary road. Prime example.
Yeah, so you got people trying to get off, people trying to get on, and they're all crossing lanes. No wonder there's a bottleneck. I mean, Blind Freddy will tell you that's going to happen, Yeah. And the other thing is with us, with freeways, why on earth we seem to feel that it's a good idea to put a set of traffic lights at the very end of a freeway.
Yeah.
I'll never understand it. Get people away from there and then put a traffic light. But we don't want to do that. We do all these crazy things.
It's crazy. Maybe we should run for being politicians. Road engineers.
The money sounds good, but I don't think the responsibility sounds
well, I'll tell you what, with politicians, I would pay politicians treble what they're earning now. If they're any good.
If they did their job.
Yeah, if they're any good. But the other thing is too, basically, with politics and politicians, what you're attracting is, because the wage is low, you're basically getting the dregs of business, right? You're getting failed lawyers, failed real estate agents. Failed businessmen, trade unionists, stuff like that. Whereas if you were paying, $1 million, you would get
the premium of
you get the cream of the crop, and all of a sudden you've got people who actually know how to run a business and know what it's like. All of a sudden they're making decisions for you rather than these other
fumbling their way through it.
They've got no idea.
Love it. So speaking of businesses, you've ran a few of yourself.
Yeah.
We just had a chat out the back. There's quite a few businesses that you're running at the moment. I wasn't aware of. That's bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
We had a chat about the grind. Yeah. Pulling yourself.
Pulling
yourself up from.
I don't know if you want to speak about that. What we talked about before, there was a point in my life.
So we were asking about mental health. And I asked him, have you ever experienced any mental health issues?
No, I'm fine.
No,
but here's
really,
all the shit.
Yeah, I do remember this one time I was in the shed crying.
Yeah.
So let's run back through that one.
So see, I don't think that's mental health. I think what that is you're having a
pressure.
Yeah, you're
at a low point.
You're at a low point, right? So, and I'll tell you the whole story. I'd started a business because my other business partner at the time had diddled the books and had a gambling problem. So
took all your money.
Took all the money. So we had no money. And it was Christmas time, and we were broke, like absolutely broke. Not only did I not have money for presents, I didn't have money for food for Christmas. So what was wrong? And she goes, "Well, you're not doing anything wrong work-wise." And she goes, and the wheel always turns. As long as you keep doing the right thing, and I'm of the firm belief that if you keep doing the right thing, it will turn. And you need to get tougher. And at that stage, if people owed money, I'd say, I won't pester them because
fix me up when you can.
Yeah, and I won't pester them because what if they won't use me anymore because I'm a pain in the bum and all that sort of stuff. Fortuitously, somebody gave me a book by Rex Hunt, who, if you don't know who Rex Hunt is, he was a
Aussie fisherman.
Aussie fisherman.
Yeah, played for Richmond.
Played for Geelong too, I think. And he had been bankrupt, and I happened to read that book at Christmas time. And he said in that book, you have two choices in life when you're in that situation. You can either lay on the couch and in the fetal position and think, how bad is my life? Or you can get up and you can work twice as hard.
Do something.
And get yourself out of it.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, when you're freaking working that hard, you don't have time for depression. You just got to, because you've got to keep going. You've got to go. And when you got kids there and you're the sole income provider, you better figure it out. So I worked my ringer off. I did stuff, that now I wouldn't do it in a month of Sundays, but then
you did things other people wouldn't do, and that's why you got the
I did some shocking stuff like just dirty work and just picking up rubbish, and so it was horrible. And I got a gig the cleaning as well, and like I said to you before, my kids weren't seeing me, so I used to take them along at night time. And they would
do little competitions.
Yeah, I'd have little competitions with mopping and all that sort of stuff. And man, that was shit house at it, but at least they were having fun. And I still got the job done, got to see them, and they got to see Dad, and we all had fun together. And, there was no holidays. There was none of that stuff. It was, on a Sunday before I would go and do the cleanup at the Lebanon Market, we'd go for a picnic or a barbecue somewhere for a couple of hours and then race back and off to work again. So, I just think that, like I said before, I think people put too much emphasis on take this pill or make you feel better, go and see this person, he'll make you feel better. At the end of the day,
pull your socks.
You got to do it yourself. Nobody's going to do it. You can get help to do it, and by all means, go get help, right? But at the end of the day, it comes down to you. Like I said to you before, as much as everybody will blow smoke up your bum and tell you how much they feel for you, all they're all thinking is, I'm glad it's not me.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you were talking about, mate, that you went to his mower shop and he offered you, a demo mower.
Yep.
You got to sometimes accept help from.
You accept help, and that's what happened. So I was, like I said to you, this was that Christmas that we talked about before, and I got off my bum and I put flyers out and told people I'd pick up their Christmas tree for $20 to try and make some money over Christmas, and said I'd work over New Year's to mow their lawns so their places look good for New Year's. Anyway, I pulled into the mower shop, and his name's Andrew Conn. If you're listening, thank you very much again. I ring him at least once a year to thank him every single year.
Love it.
He said to me, "Why don't you buy a ride-on mower?" And I said, "I can't afford the blades to a ride-on mower, let alone a ride-on mower, and especially that ride-on mower, which is about $16,000, I think it was." And he goes, "I'll give it to you and just pay me when you got the money." I said, "No, because it's a demo." I said, "No, I'm not. I hate owing people money." And went home and spoke to my wife about it, told her, and she goes, "What are you mad? Why don't you do it?" And I said, No.
What happens if I don't get any fucking work?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. She said, "Look, I know you. I know you'll make it work, right?" So I went back and I said to Andrew, "Look, is that offer still on the table?" And he goes, "Yeah, I told you, take it. You can take it now. Put it on the trailer now." I said, "Look, I'll promise I'm going to pay you back as soon as I can." He goes, "Pay me back when you got the money."
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought I knew how to work before that, but believe me, after I got that, it was a whole nother level. So I put lights on the front of it. And I started work at 5:30 in the morning, and I worked through till 9, 10 o'clock sometimes with lights going. This is through winter, rain, hail or shine. I had other blokes laughing at me. "What are you doing working in the rain?" I said, "Well, while you're working, while you're at home, I'm still working. I still got income."
That's it.
And I paid him back in 6 weeks.
That's fantastic.
When I walked in with the last payment, he goes, "Holy shit, I think you're going to pay me that back that quick." I said, "Well, mate, I hate owing money." That's literally how people ask me, a lot of kids ask me, because I coach a fair bit of basketball and stuff like that, and kids will ask me about success and how did you become successful? There is no secret to success.
Work hard.
Work harder than the other bloke, right? And that is the only secret there is, right? If you work harder and sometimes smarter, you will be successful, because people can see you working hard, and people want people to they like to see people working hard, right? So that is a secret. Just work hard. And when you're 58, like I am now, you can't work as hard as you used to.
Yeah.
Right? You just can't, because the body just doesn't help, especially doing what I did. The body doesn't hold up, right?
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. So, but when you're 30, 25, 30, mate, you can work.
Yeah.
You can work. You can smash stuff, right? You can literally smash. You're designed to work.
Yeah.
As a human, we are designed to work. We're not designed to sit on our bums at computer desks. We're not. We're actually designed to work.
Hunter-gatherers, mate.
Yeah. I tell all the kids, if I've told so many kids that story about doing that. It is just, to me, like I said, there is no secret. Work harder. Keep working.
Complain less, grind hard.
Yep. And, you got your boss at work. Don't be jealous that he's got a brand new car. Think about, how am I going to get a brand new car, right? What did he do to get that car?
Yeah.
Right? So many things I see on Facebook, the boss has got a brand new car, what a prick he is. No, he's not a prick, mate. For starters, he's paying you.
Yeah.
Right? And this is not, I've thought about the same way my whole life. Not because I got a business, but I wasn't in business my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
If he's smart enough to get to that point, what did he do different?
Yep.
Right? Okay. So it's rather than, begrudging him, pick his brains, ask him what, and mate, I reckon 80% of people will tell you how they did it.
Yeah.
They're happy to help you.
Oh, of course.
Have you heard that joke? Have you heard about the joke of the boss with the new car? Yes. Boss pulls into the car park, brand new Lamborghini. Worker comes out. He goes,
"Wow,
it's amazing. How did you afford that?" He goes, "Look, mate, if you keep grinding, keep working as hard as you are, I'll be able to buy another one next year."
And that's the truth.
So you got the mower. Is that what the love of landscaping came from?
So before that, I was in the rag trade. So we used to do suits and all sorts of stuff, right? And obviously that thing happened with my ex-partner and all sorts of stuff. So, but I always used to do like stuff on the side, like doing gardens and things, and did my own place and a couple of help with friends and all that sort of stuff. And I also wanted to be around home more than what I had been before. I was with National Form Wheel Group. So I was National Sales Manager with National Form Wheel Group. So a lot of my time was spent on the road, and that's all fine and dandy when you're single, but when you got kids and wife, you want to get home. That's what I thought, well, what can I do? And didn't have any money at the time because obviously it'd been knocked off. So I thought, I'll do a Jim's mowing franchise. That's how it all started, right? Yep. And even with that, I couldn't afford to buy a full franchise. I bought I didn't buy any customers. I just bought the area, which I think was about 15 grand or something. And then I built my own trailer, got my own gear, all that sort of stuff, put it together. I don't know. Again, I just did the whole work ethic thing and just kept going and going and going and going and going. And pretty soon, what actually happened was Jim Penman rang me up and said, "Would you come out and have a chat to me in a podcast?" I said, "Yeah, sure." So he asked me what I did. And he goes, then the podcast finished. And he goes, "Would you come out and be a trainer for Jim's, the Jim's group?"
Oh.
And I said, "Well, what are you going to pay me?" and he whatever it was, and I said, "Well, why would I take a pay cut to come and do that, right?" And he goes, I said, "I'll tell you what I'll do though." I said, "I'll come out free of charge, and I'll speak to blokes and tell them what I did to become successful at Jim's Mowing." He goes, "Oh, that'd be fantastic." So did all that, and we come out and did I did the first gig, and we had all these people there from all over the world, and said to them, Jim's goes through this whole thing about, how to do this and how to do that. And basically it's wank, right?
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, everyone wants to know how to make money, right? So they all left the room. I said, "Rightio.
This is how we do it.
Now, do you want to know how to make money?" And they'll go, "Yes." I go, "Right, this is how you do it." And went through that, and they go, "Fuck, this is what we want to hear," right? So there you go, right? I said, "So all that shit there, yeah, great.
That's how he makes his money.
Yeah. But let me tell you how to do it.
This is how you're going to make your money.
This is how you're going to do it, right?" And that's how that started. So, and then what happened was met up with another mate who's still my business partner now, who was working with gyms, and we figured, you know what, we don't really need gyms. We're doing it ourselves.
We're kind of paying him.
Yeah, and that's
the name on the side of the van.
That's how all this started. So that's where I've ended up now.
So you said you coached a bit of basketball. So you actually coached state level basketball.
Yes.
You've been in bands.
Yes.
You run multiple businesses.
Yes.
You run the YouTube show.
Yes.
You've been on TV for the Renault show.
Yes.
Do you sleep at all, mate? Like, I know you don't mind the grind, but how do you juggle all this? How do you fit it all in?
I don't know, mate. I just
don't like sitting still.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love a challenge.
Love it.
And as soon as I'm getting bored, I'm looking for the next challenge.
Yeah.
Right. And even with basketball, my whole thing with basketball was I wanted to coach a championship, right?
Yeah.
And we did. I did. I coached a state championship, right?
So want to be the best of the best, and you made it.
Yeah. So, and I called all the kids in at the start of the season. They had another coach first, and he quit.
Yeah.
Right. So they asked me, "Would I take over?" I said, "Yeah, no worries at all." I called the kids in. I said, "Listen, if you trust me and you do what I'm going to ask you to do, and you trust each other, this will be the best season of basketball you're ever going to have."
Yeah.
I said, you'll work harder than you've ever worked before, but trust me, at the end of it, when you're holding that cup, you're going to forget about all that, and you're going to think it's the best thing you ever did, right? And we did it. And mate, those kids, they worked their bums off that year. They literally
what age group?
That was under 18s.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
They did everything.
Yep.
Everything and more. We did stuff up the Yangs. We did, mate. We had freaking people offering us gym memberships for them to come do there, and boxing training. And I had another mate of mine who's a He used to be in the special forces, and he came in and he did, he got him, like mindfulness and all that sort of stuff. And we won the whole shooting match, right? And those guys are now all still mates now.
That's
right.
right.
It was the best.
Build a bond.
Yeah, it was like you could make a movie out of it. It was just such a great season. They came from stone motherless last to winning the whole shebang. It was fantastic. One of the best things we've been involved.
I don't think enough credit is given to coaches. Like I've been a baseball coach for like 25 years.
Yep.
The impact you can have on a kid.
Oh mate.
Like I stopped playing like 5 or 6 years ago. I still have people coming up to me. I'm like, I play baseball because of you coached me as a kid. Like it's a really good.
Well, I coach a lot of Sudanese kids.
Yeah.
And we all know there's problems with the Sudanese community and with crime and all that sort of stuff. I had some kids that had a rough trot, and I pulled them aside and I said to them, listen, forget about everything else that's happened. If you're on the level with me, no bullshit, no lying, none of that shit, you communicate with me, I will make you successful, right? Those kids still now call me Swaggy P and my wife Mum.
Yeah.
My wife said to them, if ever you haven't got food or bed or anything, you come here and you will get it. I employed them.
Yeah.
They work for me. I helped them start up their own businesses.
Yeah, wow.
I've got three or four kids played college ball in America.
Oh, wow.
Are playing professional basketball now. One of those kids, his brother's in prison for murder, right? And all of them.
Yeah.
Every single bloody one of them is successful. One of them, Sagali, runs a podcast. He's he does a lot of community work within their community. He runs, basketball tournaments. He runs podcasts. He does, fundraising for them.
Yep.
What a fantastic individual. And to think that I've had some sort of input into him getting to that point, that's reward for me.
Kudos to you, mate.
So my job, I do a lot of training for forklift and like safety stuff, work licensing. I had a guy come in who was like a leader for some family, and he was like, he said it's so hard for the kids because everyone says, go get a job, go get a job. He goes, if one of my kids walks into the business, no one's going to give him a job.
No.
He goes, so how does he make money?
Yeah.
So they have to go to crime.
Yeah.
It's like, he goes, you give them a chance, they'll work harder than anybody because you've given them that chance.
See,
it's all about that.
I don't agree that they have to go to crime.
Well,
right?
Yeah, like,
they don't have to.
They don't have to, but if you start cutting off all their choices,
yes. Yeah. But that's where if everybody in Australia will give you a go, if you're prepared to have a go, right? And it's really a small minority,
of course,
of that group that cause trouble, right? It looks like it's massive because it's on the news all the time, but mate, it's probably in the area of Wyndham, Tarneit and Point Cook, there's probably 40 kids that are a pain in the ass, right? Yeah. The same on the eastern suburbs. It's the same thing, right? You look after them, which is Jacinta Allen's job in the police force, which unfortunately they're not doing a good job at the moment. You look after those kids. I had kids those kids came to me, so what I did was if they won, I made a promise to the team if they won, I'd shout at Macca's on the road home. It cost me a fortune because they just kept winning, right? And I didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah. Anyway, and we were sitting there one night and they asked me, what do you think of the whole situation with the Sudanese? And I said, well, what do you think? And they said, send them home because they're giving us a bad name. Yeah, yeah. Right? And this is the thing. All these kids they're great kids. I never had any problem with them, ever. Right? Yeah. But there's some there that cock up for everybody else, as there are Australians, as there are Vietnamese, as there are Chinese, Lebanese.
It's the same thing for us in the bike community.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's 1% of the bike community that probably, and even of that 1%, there's probably 1% of them.
That 1%, yeah.
Right?
Most blokes just want to ride bikes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Right. So getting back to bikes, you've ridden in Australia and New Zealand and around Thailand. What's one of the rides that really stands out to you?
Oh, mate, New Zealand is like, he's off the charts. Yeah. Honestly.
You're sucking up to Ambo now.
No, the South Island of New Zealand, mate, it is incredible. There was a day we went to a place called...
Did you remember to change the currency between the North Island and South Island?
No, I didn't go to the North Island, just stayed the South Island. We went to... what's the name of the joint? It's Akaroa.
The servos in the North Island won't let you use South Island money.
Have to get the servos in.
We went to a place called Akaroa, and it's down on the coast. It was just incredible. We got past the last car. We happened to see the copper on the side of the road to pull somebody over, and we sort of, between Whitey and I, we said, well, there wouldn't be two coppers here. There'd have to be the only one. So let's go, right? And they call it the
Ladies Mile.
the Christchurch GP, I think it's called.
Yeah, right.
We took off and we went up the top. When you get to the top, you look over and like it's just windy all the way up there, like 15 Ks, 15 Ks, 15 Ks, 20 Ks, 15 Ks, like all the way up. Get to the top and all you can see is Akaroa, the bay, with cruise ships in there and and like sapphire blue water.
Yeah.
And then we zipped in down into Akaroa itself. And as we're going down on the beach, there's a bloke riding his horse. Yeah. And it was like the man from Snowy River. And we're going, oh my God, right? So we pulled over and both of us looked at each other and we're going, oh Jesus, it get any better than that. That was incredible that day.
Yeah, Milford Sound's beautiful.
Milford Sound is incredible. Yeah. The ride into Milford Sound's incredible. We went to the Burt Munro Classic at Invercargill. Yeah, right. Did that. Coldest place on earth. Yeah. That is ridiculously cold there. Don't go there without thermals. Oh, yeah, Queenstown is epic. Yeah. Coming out of Queenstown to Lake Wanaka, that's another epic road.
Wanaka. Anyway.
Fucking Kiwis.
Have you had any rides that completely changed your mindset or perspective?
When we got hit by a car, that was probably changed the way I look at things. We were, I'd been around Australia, coming on our way home, going through a roundabout, and a woman, 87 years old, went straight through the roundabout and cleaned us up. Elaine, my wife, was in a wheelchair for 3 months. I had broken ankle.
That would change your perspective.
Yeah. So it didn't change my perspective about riding. I was literally looking at buying a new bike while I was in hospital. But what it did do is it shows you how quickly life can change in a heartbeat through no fault of your own.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've done every friggin' rider training course there is, and she was legally blind. Yeah. Shouldn't have been driving. So what do you do? What do you do? Right? That changed my perspective.
Yeah. I always approach riding like everybody on the road wants to kill me. Yep. It's like one of the only ways you can do it. That healthy respect. It's not a fear. It's just that healthy respect that there's every ride could be your last. It takes a special type of person to throw your leg over a bike in the first place.
Yeah, like you're like hyper vigilant when you're on a bike, and that's you talk about mental health.
Yeah,
the reason why your mental health is improved on a bike is because you really can't be thinking of anything else. If you're thinking about something else, you better not be riding that bike, right? So I think that's why it improves people's mental health so much, because you come off it, and it's like rock climbing. Or something like, because you got to be fixated on what you're doing, because if you're not, you're going to get killed.
Any laxing judgment's going to have a serious consequence.
100%.
Do you prefer solo riding or riding with a crew?
Look, I love riding just Elaine and I.
Yep. You're getting too popular to ride it alone now.
Well, that part of success is popularity, and going back to what I was talking to you about before, if people have been nice enough to watch you and support you and do all that sort of stuff,
you're not going to tell them no.
You sort of got to spend time with them, right? So, but I must admit, I do love going. Like if it's just Elaine and I, especially filming so much easier by yourself, because the problem, I tell people, if you're riding with me, it's a pain in the ass, because I'm going to stop 85 times in a day and set up a camera shot and get the drone up, or set the camera shot right past it, go back, turn the camera around, right past it again. So I get a camera shot going towards the shot, going after the shot. So do I love riding by myself? Yeah, I do love riding by myself. I love even riding by myself, completely by myself, not even with Elaine.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's my time, and I love getting away from people. I love riding in remote places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there's nothing better.
Speaking of the YouTube stuff, you do all your own music.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how'd that come about, Luke?
So I got sick of getting freaking copyright strikes from supposedly, free music. So I've got a catalogue of probably 60 songs that I've written, something like 60, 80 songs I've written. And I thought, what if I start? And I didn't want to use my own stuff because I
feel like
self-promotion and whatnot.
Yeah, you feel like a bit of a wanker. And then everyone, why don't you use your own stuff? Oh, yeah. And anyway, I put a couple in, and almost immediately, who's this?
Where's this music from?
Where's this music from? So it's actually my music. Or how do I get it? Well, you sort of can't. So one of these days I've got to put a link together, and people can download it if they want to. Yeah. I'm not going to charge them for it. They can just use it as they want. But that's why I started doing that stuff. So
So you're a fighter for road safety and whatnot. What's the turning points that pushed you to speaking up about road conditions and rider safety?
Well, what happened was we had a guy contacted us about his son who, well, two things. A mate of Whitey's was killed when a car turned in front of him across double lines.
Yeah.
And pretty much what happened was the court case came out because there was no vision or anything. And what they said was, because the guy that was killed was was on a dark bike and had dark clothing on, it was sort of he contributed to to it, even though the guy didn't give way and went straight across double white lines. So that was the first thing I thought, that's shit, that's bullshit.
For enough money, you can get out of anything, mate.
Yes. And then the second thing was we had a guy contacted us about his son who was going up the Mount Dandenong Tourist Road, and it was raining and a pothole was full of water.
Yeah.
And he hit the pothole and it spat him off.
Yeah. And
then the bike landed on him. And the radiator was split, so he got burnt as well.
Oh, shit.
And there's levels of when you're injured, when the ambulance picks you up, there's levels like 1 to 10.
Yeah.
I think he was like 9. So basically 9 is you're almost dead.
Yeah.
So he told us about that and how basically once they did the report, they said, it was rider inexperience that caused it. Well, that's a load of bullshit.
No,
the guy hit a fucking hole. It was a freaking foot and a half
It
deep.
had water in it.
Yeah, it had water in it. And he couldn't see, and it snapped his front end. I think freaking went into a tree. Like, how's it his fault? That's not right. That's not rider error.
Yeah,
that's just bad luck.
One of my favourite videos of you guys is you're walking down the road saying how great Victorian roads are.
All falling over.
Everyone's like falling over in the background because there's massive fucking
that road was ridiculous.
That road was like, it looked like a bloody roll of bubble rope.
We do a lot of miles.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of roads.
Yeah.
And mate, they are horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. We had another one of our followers, Pete from Pete's Life. He got killed last year by a guy who was out on bail, like 3 lots of bail.
Yeah.
Had stolen a car again and on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
Hit him, killed him, cleaned him up.
Yeah.
So, and all this seems to just get swept. I just feel that motorcyclists are treated like redheaded stepbrothers.
Yeah, people kind of say like, oh yeah, but you know the dangers of the bike.
Yeah. You're right.
That's one thing.
Well, you ride a bike. You know the risk. You deserve it.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that all these people deserve getting killed? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
It's just. So it's the same thing with cyclists. I mean, I know cyclists can be a pain in the ass, but do they deserve to die?
No, exactly.
Right? It's such a stupid mindset and such an ignorant mindset.
So what's it been like being in front of media outlets and being the voice for the riders?
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said, if you've got a platform and you can make a difference, I think it's incumbent upon you to try and do something. To do that because. A lot of people, they haven't got a voice. They don't have the ability to do what I do. They don't have a media profile. They don't have the contacts that I have. So, when you see all this happening and it's unfair, you sort of got to stick up for them.
Yeah, if you've got eyes on you, use them for.
Yeah, and like I said to you before, I literally couldn't give a shit what people think about me. I honestly don't care.
Yeah.
So, I'll say what I like.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, stiff.
Yeah, beautiful.
Bad luck.
I love it. Love it.
Have you ever felt like you're being heard by the government and the public or anybody you're speaking up to? You actually feel like you're getting your opinion across?
So we had Danny O'Brien on, who's in the opposition, which hopefully through this election they'll be in government. He'll be the Minister for Roads and Road Safety. Now we have put it on him that you want to be whatever you're saying here. We'll be knocking on your door if that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Do I think I think we're being heard. I think what we've done is because we're on Carl Stefanovic show, we're on bloody Channel 7, we're on ABC, South Australian Radio, Victorian Radio, in the papers, newsprint. I think
Twist the Throttle.
Yeah, exactly. But I think collectively. Do I think it's just us? No, I don't think so. I think it's everybody saying about it. But I think if you're on 7 News or you're on the Today Show, it's clearly going to have an effect because people go, oh shit, well it's And the thing I keep saying about it, it's okay if you're in a car, you hit a pothole, you might end up with a cracked rim.
Buckle a rim or whatever.
Yeah, you hit it on a bike, it's catastrophic, mate. You can die.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the way I've come across on those shows, but basically saying, forget about this business of wrecking your car. We're talking about lives here. For a government to be so inept that they can't fix. I mean, surely part of being in government is looking after your roads.
Exactly.
You know, people. You're supposed to look after people. We're paying taxes hand over fist, right? We have 54 new taxes since 2017.
Yeah.
54, right? And you haven't got the money to fix the road? Come on, guys.
There's a noticeable difference between Victoria and South Australia.
Is there ever?
Mate,
And I had South SAFM ring me and said, what did you think about the poor state of the roads in South Australia when you came to Tailem Bend? Honestly, it's better than Victoria.
Your shit roads look like our good ones.
Like, mate, if I could ride on then, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Right? Lots of people, one of my subscribers come across from the States a couple of weeks ago. I had him over and he goes, boy, oh boy, the roads here are horrible. Right? And he'd been to South Australia. He goes, you can tell.
That's Victorian government for you. It's fucking disgusting.
It is.
It really is.
It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Right? It is a joke. And there was some other moron, I can't remember her name. I wish I had her name in front of me, saying that her mother drove around, yada, 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 and there was nothing wrong with the roads. Well, maybe you get your mother to go and fix the roads because everywhere I go, there's shit house.
Yeah.
Right? So, it's just, whether it's Labor, Liberal, or whoever, they're both as bad as each other. However, we've had this mobbing for the last X amount of whatever it is now, and nothing's getting better, it's getting worse.
Time to switch.
So you got to at least switch it up to see something different. Something's got to give, right? You can't just keep banging your head against a brick wall and hoping something different changes.
Stop selling out to the foreign governments as well. It's fucking bit of a joke.
It is.
All this toll roads and stuff going on in the western suburbs at the moment. It's
it's out of control.
Out of control.
Transurban here is the most profitable part of their business is Victoria.
Yeah, exactly.
Worldwide.
Yeah, I actually have a mate who works for Transurban. They told me that in the first 10 years, that $50 you had to have on your e-tag, the interest they made on that alone
covered it,
paid the project, and we're still paying. And we're still
paying for it now.
Yeah, we're still paying.
And can I ask a question? What are we paying for? You're still stuck in traffic.
We're signed up to a fucking deal.
Yeah.
For years and years. I don't even know how many more years there are to go on the freaking Eastern tolls. It's fucking beyond a joke, mate.
But you know what the problem is in this country especially, and this will be the downfall of Australia, is apathy.
Yeah.
Right? We are so apathetic that we just can't. No, if this was happening in Europe,
there'd be fucking protests everywhere.
They would stop it, mate. People would park their cars on the freeway and say, "We're not moving."
We just deal with it.
Yeah,
be right.
Yeah, well, we keep saying, it's not that, but at least they gave us, at least we got a discount off our Winnie Blues.
At least they gave us some lube this time.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how can you put up with it?
Yeah. So what needs to change to make roads safer for Aussie riders?
Oh, boy, God, I mean, they need to fix them for starters. Look, it never happened before.
Yeah.
Right? So what's happened is they've spent too much money on projects that we probably didn't need.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we paid $1 billion for the East-West link, which never eventuated, right?
Never built,
yeah, right. Yeah. I've got a mate who personally worked on the rail link out to the airport, and then they spent $400 million with one of the big freaking mobs. I can't think of who it is, and then said, "No, we haven't got the money to fund it. Just fill it all back in." So there's bridge pylons, there's car parks, that they always got filled back in with soil. Another $400 million gone.
Yeah.
The Com Games, that's gone. So you put all that money back in to roads, mate, you'll get the roads fixed in 5 years. You'll have the roads fixed, right? Yeah. So what you do is you start with the main arterials, Western Highway, the Ring Road, Hume Highway, the Princes Highway down towards...
But are these projects being tendered out to other people, or is this in-house?
It won't be a Vic Roads project.
Yeah, I don't even know how it works, but I do know this, right? The guys that were fixing the potholes, they were getting, I think it was $60 a hole, right? However, between the time that the thing was identified to the time that they get approval to fix the hole was probably 8-9 weeks down the track. It was now not a $60 hole, it was now probably a $200 hole, right? So what happens is they just go and slap what they can into it, a bit of tar or whatever, and the first truck that goes over it
tears it all out again.
It's gone, right? So nothing's getting fixed properly. That's the problem, right? And the problem is, like I keep saying, it's all very well for cars and all that, but mate, you come around a corner and you can't see this, but there's times where there's lips. There's a place in Horsham alone. There's a road there in the middle of Horsham that trucks have gone over. The lip is higher than a gutter, and not one lip. There's 4 lips where the truck has gone over it. Now, when it fills with water, you can't see that lip. So poor bloke,
Joe Blogg's driving his car.
Okay, he goes over it. Then the poor bloke behind on a motorbike comes over and goes to change lanes. Bang! He wondered what the hell happened. I just hit the ground. You just hit a gutter, mate. That's what happened.
Yeah. Right.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. What's next for your advocacy work? Where do you want to go next? Where do you want to take it?
Oh, look, I think I want to get this done first. We want this to be fixed, Basically, what I want to do is I really want to build a community within us, within our bikers, And the way we're doing that, we do things like the Brass Monkey Run, where a whole heap of people come from all over the place to do it. Yeah, you got guys like Chop from Chop's Journey up in Sydney who, he just did a trip around Australia, did 5 states in 5 days, 1,300 Ks a day, raising money for kids with cancer. All these things that we're getting on board with. Eventually what I'd like to do is I'd love to have the podcast go Australia-wide and have representatives in every state. And because divided, we've got no hope. But as a group, motorcycle riders, if all of a sudden you have, 1 million people who all vote,
then you can make a big difference.
Then you can make a difference, right?
The bond in the motorcycle community, I think, it's so much deeper than you realise.
Oh, 100% it is.
I had the chat with you outside. When we reached out to you, we're a tiny little podcast. You've got 2 million views on YouTube. You're like, yep, I want to come on. What are we talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think I've had anyone say no.
But just on that, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I don't see social media or YouTube as a competition.
No.
Right?
Build each other up.
Yeah, mate, it's like playing golf. You're playing against yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So if I can drag you up with me, all the better for it, right? So because that's another voice for motorcyclists in Australia, right? And the bigger you get, the bigger we all get.
Yeah.
The bigger I get, the bigger we all get. The bigger Hogs Cogs gets, the bigger we all get. Because the more and more people that we get together, and are like-minded and are turned up to the same events and doing the same things, mate, if all of a sudden you can say to them, listen, if we do this, we will get major change with roads, with road safety. The next thing we want to try and do is get that stupid safety levy. We're paying about $80 a year safety levy. Motorcycles are the only people that pay it. Yep. Why? And what are we getting for it?
Nothing.
We're getting nothing. Right?
Donuts.
Yeah.
If you could change one law for Australian riders tomorrow, what would it be?
I would change the speed limits on major roads.
Higher?
Higher.
Yeah.
I just think, the way motorbikes have come ahead, this is the thing. It goes back to road conditions, right? If the road conditions are good, Hume Highway is 130 kilometres an hour.
Easy.
Any day of the week, right?
The road between Western Suburbs and Geelong, perfect example.
130 Ks any day of the week, right? There's nothing there. There's no oncoming traffic. There's nothing.
Good.
Yeah.
Good divide between the two roads.
Everything. There is no reason why that shouldn't be like that. If we can do it in the Northern Territory, and we can do it in America, and we can do it in France and England and Germany and everywhere else in the world, what's the problem here? And I'll go back to it again. We keep keeping the dumb zebras alive.
Yep.
What's the best riding anthem of all time?
Oh,
most favourite song. Touched on it already.
I love Stranglehold. That might have been AC/DC.
Yeah.
I also like Creedence. Love a bit of Creedence. Yeah.
Are you a music in the headset guy or a comms guy or?
No, I very, very rarely ride with music.
Yeah.
Every now and again, I'll put it on if I'm coming home.
Yeah.
Like at the end of a ride, I just want to relax coming in, right? Yep. Believe it or not, I put on, it's like it's a bit of a joke. I put on The Gambler by Kenny Roach. It's garden. I'll put that on. That's more of a joke than anything else. But yeah, I just think, if you really concentrate on riding, you probably shouldn't be listening to music. I just, for me anyway, because the problem with me is I'll start thinking about the words and stuff.
Breaking down music.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a good idea, So, but yeah, those three, even, I reckon, Kid Rock,
Born
Free. You know that song, Born Free?
Yeah.
That's a cool song too.
Starting to wrap it up, mate.
I was just getting started.
What would your bike say about you if it could talk?
Calm down, sunshine. You're flogging me here.
How quick you passed me when I thought I was booting a lot. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm jumping in with him.
One word your mates would use to describe your riding style.
Aggressive.
Yeah, good.
Loose. Yeah. All right. So we finish every show off with the same question, mate. We named our show Twist the Throttle. What does that term, Twist the Throttle, mean to you?
it means everything about motorbikes. That's what it means to me. Twist the Throttle is all about getting on it and just wringing its neck and
giving it
and giving it all. Like I just look. I think the perfect time is first thing in the morning on a nice day, no wind, beautiful sunrise, and you just go on. It's just like you could just go forever.
Yeah.
There's and I have done that. I've literally been on my way home. I thought, nah, fuck, it's too nice. I'll just keep going. And just keep.
I did that for the first time about 3 months ago. I was like, I need to go to Melton to do something. I called my missus. I'm like, I'm in like Shepparton. Like, she's like, what the fuck are you doing in Shepparton? I'm like, the road was nice. The weather was good. I was just like, I was in my own head. I'm like, fuck it, I just want to keep going. Stopped up, grabbed a pie, come back.
I'd go to Adelaide. No worries. Like just to, I got another mate who's in the SAS. He rang me up one day. Goes, do you want to meet me for lunch? I said, where are you? He goes, I'll meet you in Adelaide. He's in WA.
Yeah.
Right? I said, when? He goes, tomorrow. I go, fuck me. I'm not riding. What tomorrow? How are you going to make it? He goes, no, I'll make it there. No worries. I go, I can't do it tomorrow, mate. Forget that.
We've got a mate of our club that will call you up and go like, hey, you want to go for a ride? You have to go like, where? Because like, do you want to go for a ride? Could be like, we're going to Alice Springs. You're like, you jump on the bike, you start riding, he just keeps going. You're like, oh, mate, hey, where are we going? He's like, booked a hotel in Alice Springs. Let's go. We've got 8 hours to get there. You're like, calm down.
And that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing with Whitey. So Whitey he plans everything, right? I don't plan anything, right? And I don't know if you saw that video where because he kept hassling me about, when are you going to take me to the Outback? When are you going to take me to the Outback?
Yeah.
So we're actually about to do a podcast. I said, we're going now. He goes,
right now?
What do you mean? Right? Okay, we're going now. We're going right now.
Right now.
Let's go. Right? He goes, I haven't got my stuff. I go, sorry, Lisa's got some stuff here. Let's go. Yeah. Right? And I didn't book anything, and I said, let's just go, right? Yeah. And wherever you turn it. And mate, that to me is
that's fun. That's
the best.
You can't describe that feeling of just like, I don't have a plan. I don't need a plan.
No.
It's just
it'll work out. And I've done it a few times. Did it with my other mate who's an engineer, and engineers are very structured. And we're riding along and we're heading towards Mildura, and he goes, where are we staying tonight? I said, I don't know. He goes, well, haven't you booked anything? I go, no. Yeah. He goes, what if we can't get there? I said, it's going to make fucking good content.
Well, I just want to personally thank you, Paul, for coming on.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Very busy man. Everybody knows it now.
Yeah. Thanks for making time for us, mate. Everyone will chuck some links in the socials to both shows and to the Somali support group, or was it the Sudanese support group as well? Yeah, we'll give them a bit of a plug as well. Good. So thanks for coming on, mate.
Thanks, Paul.
Matt, appreciate it. Thanks for your time, fellas.
Bye. Thanks for riding with us today on Twist the Throttle. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Remember, no matter how tough the road gets, you're never riding alone. Stay safe, stay open, catch you on the next ride. Keep that throttle twisted.